That just attend these events, just being an alpha and who went here, there's a lot of work that goes into getting an event with this many people in together, making sure it runs smoothly, make sure the sign-in is there, and all the little things that you might not even think of. So I just want to commend Sabrina and her team for not just bringing me out here, but for just making sure all y'all are here. So. We are at a crossroads. Now I need everyone to say crossroads.
Crossroads.
That was weak. Try again. We are at a crossroads. I need everyone to say crossroads. The reason why I need y'all to say that we are at a crossroads, because if you're asleep, you need to wake up. Yeah. Okay, just stand up if you want to. We have reached a point, not just in American politics or cultural politics and societal politics, in which the time to make a decision is now. And it might be the big decisions, like what David talked about, sensible immigration policies, or making sure that everyone has access to a living wage, fair working conditions, fair working standards, and it might be the little more mundane decisions, like not putting pineapples on pizza. Or please, if you do that, please don't. But we've reached a crossroads. And during my time at the University of Florida, I had the opportunity to kind of make those decisions. So my background, I got here in the spring of 2015 as an Innovation Academy student. Innovation Academy, anyone? Hey man, we out here. But I got here in the spring of 2015 and I had no idea what was going on. It was the middle of spring semester. Everyone had already formulated their cliques. Everyone's on first year buddy taking the photos, and I'm living in the 7th floor baby, not knowing this. Rough life. In a couple weeks after my first week of classes, took chem. Now I'm in law school, so you know how that went. I got acclimated a little bit, and I had the opportunity to, get involved in student government. I was a member of the Access Party, and I did student government for a little while, and then left student government, and then I started at the Samuel Proctor World History Program. Shout out to my boss, Dr. Carter. Please clap. Please clap. And what I learned while at SPOP, I was at SPOP for over 2 years. And what I learned, I carry with me to this day. And it's about making those decisions. And first, in order to make those decisions, you have to know where you came from. You see, a lot of times, history is told from the top down. It's taught by the victors, the winners, those who sit in marble offices or write fancy legislation or use the word here to in everyday conversation. Trust me, I'm in law school, it's normal. But the real people that make history, the people that create change in our communities, are the everyday workers, the laborers, people in Immokalee, Florida, who are farm workers, who don't get paid a fair wage. Wendy's, y'all should boycott Wendy's, stop eating at Wendy's, please. Until they learn how to treat our people with dignity and respect, we should not offer them our time or our resources. But they're the ones that are telling history. I'm talking about people who support the Black Lives Matter movement. Does anybody think Black Lives Matter? Started by queer women of color who understood that humanity lies not only if you get elected president of the United States. Trust me, Barack is my guy. It also matters if you're a 14, 15, 16-year-old boy wearing a hoodie, walking home. Or if you're sitting in your home and a police officer walks in thinking that it's her home. It matters if you're stopped at a routine traffic stop and you're killed in prison. It matters if you're not killed, but you're abused at work. If you're sexually assaulted. If you're verbally abused. Black lives matter then too. Latinx lives matter. Indigenous lives matter. And these are the people that are telling these stories. So it's important to know, step one, I'm sorry, I'm trying to break it down how I learned in law school. Step one, know who's telling these stories. The real stories, the stories of your and my people. Know the people. 2, You have to stand in the gaps with the folk who recognize your humanity. You should be unapologetic. If someone is not willing to offer you the respect and dignity you deserve, deuces -1. Y'all can do the math. Deuces -1. Dang, I thought I was going to be a lot. But you should not offer your time. You shouldn't offer your money. Gosh, wow, I'm trying to say a lot right now. But you shouldn't offer them any ounce of respect that you think they ought to afford you. Perfect example, like I mentioned, Wendy's. Wendy's doesn't pay their farm workers a fair wage, for one, and poor living standards. Yeah. Now, we can all agree, regardless of what side of the political aisle you're on, this is not a partisan issue. That if you see someone working 12, 13, 14, 15-hour days, they ought to get paid a fair wage. And they should have the opportunity to report sexual assaults if they get sexually assaulted at work. They should have the opportunity for breaks. They should have the opportunity to have a system to fairly interact with their bosses and their coworkers, but they're not given that. And each of y'all on campus is like the shameless plug. Have the opportunity to partner with other folk who are doing this work of making those decisions to retell the story as it ought to be told. Swipe left on Wendy's. That's the last of that. And now, it's weird. I'm sorry. The last time I was on stage at the University of Florida, didn't go. So there's like a really, really surreal moment right now. Let's talk about it. So I walked from the University of Florida, May 5th, 2 p.m. The good bros were there. My family was there. Everyone was there. Everyone was supposed to be there. And in a manner of cultural expression, I'm not going to demonstrate it. Watch the videos on YouTube. We do it a lot at parties, at functions, whatever. We had the opportunity to express ourselves culturally. And how we do it is through a move called the 8-Walk. And so trying to 8-Walk across the stage, and y'all know what happens. Yeah. In that moment, I was robbed of the opportunity of cultural expression. And sometimes, while it's great to recognize, the ones who make it like Barack, like Sonia Sotomayor, like pretty much any person of color that makes it, it's great to recognize them, but we have to recognize the everyday opportunities to celebrate our culture. And that was denied me, because, we can tolerate when people like to pander to our people or think that, I have that one black friend, so I must be cool. But the everyday opportunity to express your culture, whether it's on graduation, or it's on the set, or in Gainesville in the community, it's very important to allow that interaction to happen. They also want me to perform for y'all. I'm a spoken word poet. I've been a spoken word poet since I was 16 years old, and a little bit of house rules before I begin. 1, don't be dead. Y'all, I like it. I like spoken word is a form of expression that depends. I'm sorry, I'm losing all my words here. It depends on crowd interaction. Snap, clap, rewind. So a big thing that we do, if you like something that you hear, just say rewind. Crowd, please say rewind. Rewind. Okay, so, and the reason why is because it's not just me reciting poetry to y'all, it's us having a conversation. So I'm gonna say a couple spoken word pieces for y'all. This piece kind of explains why I was wearing a suit. So, if you hear someone brag about being a 4th generation Florida Gator, chances are they don't know what it feels like to be the new kids. Because understand that being black or Latinx, that you have turned this family into stupid. I'm talking, hey Arnold, I don't want to make that reference, but I have to because this is Gerald asking Arnold, why are you optimistic? And Arnold saying, because somebody has to. This is someone saying, arroz con pollo tastes funny. Your hair feels weird, when frankly nobody asked you. This is the present not seeing the future because it's always looking past you. This is rallying people.
Rewind.
This is the present not seeing the future because it's always looking past you. This is rallying people. Because I understand that a lot of us might feel defeated. I mean, in 2016, I turned my spoken word pieces into political speeches. It's necessary for our survival, don't you feel? Our people sleep. Little black or Latinx boy got asthma, can't you hear him wheezing? If we're gone or dead on the floor, can't you see he's not breathing? But people be like, Oliver, cheer up, my nizzle. Give me that black boy, you should rap a little. We don't know what your place is or what your face is. You're going down the middle. A lot of you people have sold out just to eat. You should grab a little. But how can you forsake values that you never had? I have to say this, that wearing a black face and being black sellouts are just as racist, like saying that you're not racist because you got Wiz Khalifa or Little B on the playlist. Just act like your pop music you sold soul just to be famous, but let me tone it down. I learned how to be mild-mannered from my mother. And for the people that like to say something about me wearing suits all the time, I get compliments about looking like Jadena's little brother. But I'm not a classic man, and I'm not losing it. I'm saying if you want to lead a revolution, you ought to look good doing it. And speaking of looking good, because y'all look good. Y'all look good. I remember growing up, I used to always want a pair of Air Jordans. And you're probably wondering why a guy like me would ever want to wear a pair of Air Jordans, but understand that us, we, humans, have this incessant need of feeling like gods, and since Jesus walked on water, we try to step up to him by walking on air. But the fact that I never had that power didn't make me feel any lesser, even though I was a young king with no fashion sense, looking like a court justice. So by the time I got to high school, a lot of kids were wearing Louis and Gucci. Phat Farm and Fubu were no longer good enough, in the same manner that just because you're shy or wearing a hoodie never meant you were a thug or hood enough. So by the time I got to college, I just wanted to erase why racism occurs in the first place. Next step I take on my trip and drop a mix tape. Let me backtrack, I'll take it back here. Knees if you think you could rap like me or pick a bat like me. Chillin' with the Jack Daniels cause they cannot turn up on a Daiquiri, on a Daiquiri. Freaking in the cheese just running by a house like a track like me, no time, man. Nobody keep a black like me. Going on, gonna try to die like me, like, jumpin', that boy's like the sun. He done spent like 2 or 3 weeks out the country. That boy's up to something. That boy's not just bluffing because you always see him in a suit. And you ask me the same question every time. It's pretty annoying. All of it. Why are you in a suit? And for the most part, I used to be unable to give you a straight answer before I realized that this is what our people wore. When they didn't want to help us raise our GPAs, but we still forced them to raise our standards. And I understand that reading is not really a thing for this generation. So I don't know if you just didn't know this or just didn't bother to notice, but dressing well for our people is another relevant form of protest. And as I protest, I speak my hopes into existence. In about 25 years' time, I'm going to be standing behind him holding with the aptly titled acronym of POTUS. And if you didn't understand what I said, I will break it down. A wise man once told me, you know you've made it if they can pronounce your foreign last name correctly. Yes. Y'all can say it loud. You can say it loud. I'm telling y'all the truth. I'm going to shake the shackles off your ankles. I'm going to wake up you. That's one. That's the first one. Y'all, I'm going tense. Y'all got to talk to me. I'm going tense right now. I have like an iron grip on this mic right now. Y'all gotta talk to me. Talk to me. Your boy, like, I'm like, so the next pieces I want to do. Last year, I wanted to do this really cool thing and start releasing pieces on Snapchat. And for those of y'all who don't know what Snapchat is, considering nobody uses it anymore, I ended up releasing entire spoken word pieces on my Snapchat, and the series was called Lucy. Don't ask me why it's called Lucy, but I released a series of eight pieces, and I want to perform 3 of them. in succession for y'all. So this is Lucy's 3, Lucy 4, and Lucy 5 all together. Like a track meet. I said I'm not coordinated, mad skinny, so I look like I'm an athlete. And she asked me, do I got a job, like I'm just trying to make these ends meet and I mess up and I gotta go and cop some plan B because it's not cheap. Girl, you playing? I don't start families for entertainment. I can pay your bills, pay for dinner, and pay attention to our conversation. I remember your words and their connotation. I promise, I will remember your words and their connotation because she said that God and her would just sit down and go and talk about love now. I was the guy that you prayed for, but I wasn't enough, God. Could you see my hurt? Because my words couldn't paint a perfect picture. Took her on a date and I'm nervous with her, expressing the emotion I'm working with her because she's worth the wait. She's worth it. Even harder when you're the only broken one, has to pick up broken pieces. Used to find my religion at the bottom of bottles. I used to find my Holy Spirit in wine glasses. Used to get so drunk off Moscato just to have conversation with God in drunken stupor so I wouldn't feel stupid for shooting my shot like Cupid. I used to get so drunk on Moscato just to have conversations with God in drunken stupor just so I wouldn't feel stupid for shooting my shot like Cupid. For shooting my shot like Kobe. Because I told her we could be Steph and Aisha, and I said she wasn't even worthy. Sure, I'm nice and I'm kind. And frankly, that's awesome. But she said I'm also light-skinned and bearded and an alpha, so clearly I must be a problem. Don't worry, I hear what y'all saying about us on campus. And even if she were wrong, she didn't have time to waste. I mean, even Satan was a snake that finessed his way into Eden into her Eve. She doesn't have time to waste, but I believe that my God doesn't waste time because he doesn't make mistakes. That's Lucy's 3, 4, and 5, all together. Y'all gotta talk to me. Y'all have to talk to me. Let me know how y'all feeling. What time is it? I don't want to go about. It's pretty early. Pretty early. This one is for Stephen. I don't know if Stephen's in the room. My LB, my back. This is actually Stephen's favorite piece. He loves it every time I do it. And every time I perform it, he asks me to perform it again, which is crazy. I know Stephen's right there just saying, I can't wait for Oliver to perform this. Am I wrong, Ernesto? Nope. I got $1 and a drink. That's all the brother got, so if it's about that green and I'm all up in the spot, I got $1 and a drink. Just $1 and a drink. But Black and Latinx folk aren't taught to dream, we're just commanded to work, so I only got this $1. And on it, broken black and brown bodies have been pushed through the penal and legal system just to make a profit. But for y'all, I call it Black and Latinx economics. It's funny how when we stopped picking cotton, they started picking our pockets now, hanging from a tree the same as Slim Pickens in your wallet, I'm just saying. It's funny how when we stopped picking cotton, they started picking our pockets now, hanging from a tree the same as Slim Pickens in your wallet, I'm just saying. It didn't take the loose lips that I wish had sung in the slave ships to see the truth that they want to hang you with the same noose they say, pick yourself up by your own bootstrap. I see through the fakeness. Like I'm attacking the veiled woman on Fox News makes money for the veiled racists. I want to change the system that uses and abuses our people's stories for personal gain, especially those that deal with rags to riches, because when they wrung out a regardless neck like a washcloth, for them that was rags for riches. Check the police faxes. They killed a man for selling loose cigarettes while in the same country there's a president that dodges millions upon millions of dollars in taxes, I guess illegal. They killed a man while selling loose cigarettes while in the same country there's a president, Trump, who dodges millions upon millions upon millions. He dodges millions upon millions of dollars in taxes. I guess legal doesn't mean equal. And sometimes in the United States, legal means the extermination of black, brown, and indigenous people. But I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm kind of angry. I've just really been at this because some of y'all verses suck on the for the P challenge and the for the D challenge, but now I'm giving political speeches for practice for something greater because we have leaders, social, political, economic leaders that like to focus on me, the people. when I want to flip the system upside down so it's we the people, or break your out your chains and just say, free the people. Black enrollment is down at UF. I'm just saying, I don't see my people. There are people that like to get... I said black enrollment is down at UF. I am saying I do not see my people. There are people that like to get hair extensions and lip injections and butt injections trying to be our people. I just don't get it. We're taking on church today. I said there are people that like to get hair extensions and lip injections and butt injections trying to be our people. I just don't get it. How did this happen? Look up. Even the vast reaches of outer space are dark. How dare they try to erase or invalidate your blackness, especially. I'm in law school now. I'm a black. I said, I'm in law school now.
Yeah.
I'm a black scholar who can rock a chain. So they expect me to talk about Jays or LeBron James for days. But I'm not talking hoops when I say you could shoot the fade when we're having conversations about living wages without the individuals who were formerly incarcerated who experienced slave labor. Sometimes newspapers, capitalism mandates newspapers to only talk about it when it makes money for them. I don't know. I'm just a kid with $1 and a dream. That's all a brother got, so if it's about that green, then I'm all up in the spot. I got $1 and a dream. Just $1 and a dream. Shout out to J. Cole, y'all. Shout out to J. Cole. Any Cole? Any J. Cole fans? Any J. Cole fans? So, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So,
please do.
But like I said, I think anything that someone could say in 40 minutes, they could say in 20 minutes. So here's what we're gonna do. Because I have a very, very special presentation that I have to make. I told myself, if I ever got this opportunity, that I would not just try to, take out of the community, but try to give back. And for me, that means being able to stand at the gaps with the marginalized identities who stand for our people, not just on campus, but in the community. And I was a speaker in Jacksonville in July for an All Y'all Social Justice series. I promise you, the presentation was a lot more boring than this one. I was talking about Fannie Lou Hamer actually it's not boring. No, nix that. Fannie Lou Hamer is amazing. Y'all need to look her up. Y'all need to look her up. And so I gave a speech about the importance of Fannie Lou Hamer to the civil rights movement. But while I was there, I got to see this really dope high school poetry troupe based out of Gainesville High School. They happened to be there, and I was blown away. Because, anytime you get the opportunity to stand in the gaps and fight for the people who need these spaces, to need to go to these events, to go to these institutions, you should empower them to do so. So I wanted to donate $700 to Cans on the Mic Poetry Club based out of Gainesville High School. And I want Marcella Johnson to come up here and talk a little bit about Cans on the Mic.
Thank you and good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Marcella Gonzalez Johnson, and I am the co-sponsor for Canes in the Mic at Gainesville High School. They're a youth, literary, and civic engagement organization. Our students are from 9th grade to 12th grade, and all are welcome to our group. All are welcome to our program. It was founded approximately 6 years ago by an English teacher by the name of Nicole Harris, and she is an amazing teacher. Our club has begun to grow and grow. We meet in her classroom, 810 at Gainesville High School, just in case you want to stop by and visit. All I can say is that our students are amazing. They recite, they perform their original pieces that come from their pain, their adversity, the things that they experience, social injustice, all kinds of things. And all I can say is that we are grateful. We are very grateful for you, and thank you for being you, Oliver. We thank him for... We thank you for seeing something in our students, and they're very grateful. And they are empowered by this, because this is going to help them get to those poetry competitions, get to these functions, and spread their word and spread their truth, and let them feel that they are being heard. And it helps them. You have no idea what some of these kids go through. There are kids that literally will testify to the fact that coming to our poetry club was the day they decided not to commit suicide. Was the day that they decided not to go with their friends and commit a crime because of this poetry club, Canes on the Mic. And I'd like everybody to kind of, if you want to follow us in our journey, on Instagram at Canes on the Mic, and that's CANESONDAMIC, Canes on the Mic. And on behalf of Nicole Harris and myself and all the wonderful, talented students, we thank you. We thank you. We appreciate you.
Check it.
Okay.